Alrighty, guys, welcome to today's show. Welcome, guys. As you probably are well aware, for those who have seen the episode last night, that was episode 284. Just a little glimpse of it. Had the privilege of speaking to Joseph Leonard. Guy's been on this show for like 5 times already. He actually reached out. He's like, "Man, I got to get on this show. I got to talk about this Trump shit and Biden stuff and everything else." But guys, we got a heated show, real heated show. Want to get into the bit here, the segment with Joe Rogan, literally, I guess, retracting his original message on Trump, saying that he doesn't want to literally have Trump on any of his podcast shows. He doesn't support Trump. I thought he was a big fan of Trump. I don't know what happened with Rogan. But we got a heated show, guys. Jimmy the Rant here in the green room. We're waiting for him. We're going to start the show here momentarily. Don't touch the dial. Good stuff here today. Also got some pieces from TMZ trying to exploit Donald Trump. Really good stuff, guys. Don't touch the dial. We'll be right back after these words.
Broadcasting from the Big Peach of Atlanta, Georgia. A show unfiltered, unscripted, raw. The Patriot Angle Podcast.
Alrighty, guys. Welcome to tonight's show. Welcome, Jimmy. What did you hear the story with Joe Rogan came out earlier today? He's kind of retracting his original message, man, with Donald Trump. Like, what's going on with this, man? He doesn't want him on his show. He doesn't support him. He says he's a fucking puppet now. Like, whoa. Did you hear that?
Before I get into that, before I get into that, I want to say that I like the graphics, intro, and what you
Oh
got
yeah,
going
appreciate
on.
it. Yeah.
That's cool stuff.
We've
man.
been kind of mixing it up here. Yeah, like finding something that's going to suit the show, and I love the paper image where it basically just rips off and shows content. You know what I mean? So appreciate that,
Oh,
Jimmy.
yeah.
Thank you very much, buddy.
Well, with Rogan, I mean, I'm not really surprised that he would make those statements. He has, I think he delivers a lot of great content. He brings a lot of new people on his show and kind of exposes people to things that and content that they wouldn't necessarily be exposed to, right? He brings a lot of people to that, but he's been bought out. I mean, he had a huge deal. He's already been okay with them nixing some of his episodes from his earlier episodes that were kind of controversial with the things he said. He's allowed them to take off all the Alex Jones episodes because they blackballed him. So I'm not really surprised that he would say that. He's really just being a good boy now and doing good boy things. So like, yeah, he still is trying to give you the illusion that he's speaking freely on it, but he has owners now. He has owners. They paid him a large sum of money, and he has somebody that he has to answer to. So in order for him to be, to live that kind of lifestyle and keep the money rolling in, he's gonna have to bow down and kind of retract on statements. And I don't know if I think he's an educated enough person, right, in his own right to say that.
Well, he's a successful podcaster. I mean, he's like the number one tuned in podcasting host on Spotify. I mean, he's dominating the fucking platform. I got to give him that, you know.
Yeah, he's definitely king of podcasts. He brought it to a new level. He brought a lot of people into podcasts, and kudos to him. I think that maybe if this was earlier Joe Rogan, I think before the buyout by Spotify, maybe you would have seen Trump on there. But I think, listen, he does have a point where Trump would be putting on a show. Of course he'd be putting on a show. That's what he does. He works the room. He's going to say what he's going to say, and he's not scripted. And so I don't know if that would hurt. He's saying I don't want to put Trump on a show because I don't want to help him, but I think he's more worried about he doesn't want to hurt his image and his show. I don't think he's worried about helping Trump. Trump is Trump. I mean, he has other platforms that he could stand on, and yeah, he's kind of been blackballed off of the internet and a lot of different things. So we'll yet to see. Again, he bashed Biden a little bit. He bashed the Clintons a little bit. So I don't think I don't think he's a full sellout. But I mean, for years people have called him a shill. I don't know the degree of that, but like I said, when great money comes into play, you have owners, and those owners are going to tell you what to do, and what to write on, and what to talk about.
Yeah, well, like I said, he says he's passing on opportunities to even interview Trump. He doesn't want him on the show. I mean, let's go back to that statement. He doesn't want him on his show. Is Rogan himself, does he not want him on his show? Or like you said, the producers, like you said, he's been bought out. The producers probably don't want him on the show for some odd, strange reason,
Well, I think he has the freedom to produce his own shows. I'm sure he has to report in and kind of go over who he's bringing on. I'm sure he has to discuss to some degree what his schedule looks like. I think it's him. I really do think it's him because
you think it's Rogan, yeah.
I think it's I think he's listen. I was watching a show with him the other day. He had on. I'll tell you right now, I didn't get to finish the show. I like to kind of pop in and watch some of his stuff amongst other shows, right? Amongst this show. But I'll tell you who it is right now. It was with, let's see if I could find it. And
I think that was yesterday, you said, right?
No. I like to just kind of go back and listen to whatever. Wow. It was, nope, not that guy. Not that guy. Shit, how far do I have to go back? Give me a second.
I gotta see here.
There was one big 2A guy.
Yeah, that was a good show. I tuned into that myself, actually, Jimmy. That was a really damn good show. He got into a lot of good stuff, but like you said,
I'll definitely.
He brings in good people. Don't get me wrong. He's got scientists on the show. He's got fucking celebrities. He's got a good base.
All right. So it was. I don't know if I'm saying it right because it's spelled Colion. So Colin Noor. He had him on a show. You're talking about 2A. This was right after the Uvalde shooting, and he says, "Well, people think I'm on the right, but I'm really." On the left, and I've always been on the left, and I've always been kind of liberal, and so I think, as an entertainer that he is, and as somebody who has a show that's doing very well, and he has camera time, I think he really plays the crowd. For a long time, he let people assume that he was Republican, that he was right wing, that he was 2A. He had a lot of controversial people in his circle of friends. That you would consider like Jordan Peterson, and he kind of praised all those guys like Milo and all of them, and now all of a sudden he's on a show and he's like, I'm liberal, I've always been on the left. I don't know why people ever thought that. So
I forever thought he was a conservative guy. I never imagined him as a liberal, public figure like that.
I don't think he's ever been conservative because of the way he thinks. I would never say he's conservative. I thought maybe he was more in the middle, but him saying that the other day that he's always been basically on the left, and which is fine because everybody, listen, you could be on whatever side of the political spectrum you want to be on, as long as your viewpoints aren't trying to force me into something that you're scared of, right? I think that both sides being polarized is what's causing that to happen. People just kind of making statements, decisions, out of fear.
I don't know. You think he's afraid of bringing Trump on? That's going to damage his brand.
I think it will damage his brand. I think if he
You
brings
think
Trump
so?
on, it will damage it. Absolutely. Because
I don't know. There
right
was a
now,
tweet the other day, Jimmy. Did you catch the tweet the other day? Alex Jones, from Infowars, basically tweeted out, put on social media that Rogan's possibly making a mistake by not interviewing, number 45 there. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, coming from Alex Jones, I mean, he's another successful host. He's not a podcaster. He's more of a talk show type of thing, But I, I don't
yeah,
know.
but
Maybe he should
but
listen to Alex Jones. I
he's
mean, Alex Jones been around for a while, and he's got a successful show, So
well, it's not. But again, his show is not as successful as it was because he's been blackballed. He's been removed from all the platforms. He's been removed
right,
from Apple, from the Apple Store, from the Android market. You can't get it. You have to you have to save his page. You have to save Infowars to your phone as a web page if you want to kind of access it. So he's been, and that was from Sandy Hook, right after Sandy Hook,
yeah,
and but what I mean is, I think that Rogan bringing him on would hurt him because Rogan's getting his money. See, you're not getting money from. I'm going to be honest. I think Rumble was the only one that offered him like big stakes, right? Like kind of like here, we'll offer you this amount of money, and you can come here and speak freely. The problem is, the money comes from the corporations. The corporations are not going to they do not side with Trump, unfortunately.
yeah.
So if he brings him
Well,
on
yeah,
and there's enough backlash, there's a
yeah.
possibility that his ratings are going to slump. He's going to lose endorsements from companies, and I know he beats to his own drum, but that's
Yeah.
what he's worried about. I'm telling you, there's
Yeah,
somebody.
I think it comes down to the ratings. It comes down to the money. I mean, there's people that think more about money and ratings than actual, presence of people being on their show. Rogan put this out earlier today on his Twitter, saying that Trump has asked Rogan several times of coming on, and Rogan just literally says no, 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 the same no as it was previous. So I don't know. I don't know.
But he hasn't had many. I think the only big political guy he's had on the show is Bernie Sanders. So I think it's okay. He's never had the Clintons. He's never had Biden. He hasn't had Obama. He hasn't had Trump. I think if he keeps it like that, where he's not having these people on, then fine. But I don't know. I guess maybe he's like, there's not going to be much of a conversation there. Maybe there won't be. I think
Yeah.
like when Trump comes in, he works the room and he has
Yeah,
control
he takes over
of
the
whatever.
show. I mean, we've seen that on other shows, man, where he literally, he takes over the show. Trump. That's just his demeanor. He's going to be like, I'm gonna take this show. I'm gonna speak how I want to speak, and that's it. Like Donald, this isn't your show, man. This is somebody's show. You have to let them speak and let them operate on how they want to be. So
I mean,
I think
it
maybe I
could be.
understand a little bit. Yeah.
Maybe it's a conflict of interest. Joe Rogan's still involved in UFC. UFC was a big host of Trump, and when he was president, and maybe there's something there. Maybe he just doesn't want to get involved with between Dana White and the company that owns UFC. Maybe there's something there because they were buddy buddy with Trump, and maybe he just doesn't want to have him on his show and fucking get into an
Yeah,
argument
Trump.
with him.
Yeah, Trump. Well, Trump promoted that company like very, very, very severely. Like he would promote it. When they would have fights and stuff at his old casinos there in Atlantic City. You know, Trump would literally promote that. Of course, it's his casinos. And other casinos in Atlantic City, New Jersey. There, Trump had a lot of presence there in that part of New Jersey. So I think maybe, like you said, it could be a conflict of interest, right? Like Dana White probably reaching out to Rogan saying, I don't think this is a good idea. Even though it would be a really really big show, Jimmy. I think it would be.
I think it
You
would
know,
be. He's
yeah,
just too hot. He's too hot right now. Like
yeah,
from a perspective of like, you got the whole bullshit January 6th commission going on, and the trial that's going on, right? The proceedings. So, I'll be honest, I probably wouldn't want to show either. I mean, for little guys like us, right? It would be a huge win for us, right? But for
Oh,
somebody who's
sure,
already
the
at the
ratings would
top,
go off the roof. Yeah, without a
but
doubt. Yeah.
for somebody who's already at the top that has money, he's weighing it out in a different. I'm assuming, I don't know him personally. I'm just assuming that he's weighing out his options differently, and
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I a lot of my buddies, I voted for Trump. I was on the Trump wagon, right? Well, I think we're past that. I think the midterms, is he running for president? What's going to happen? Will he get my vote again? Sure. But I think if he's not running, if he's not going to run for president, I think a lot of people do need, in my opinion, need to step away from the Trumpism, right? People need to step
Yeah.
away. We did have a good 4 years, but if he's not going to run, we have to find another person to stand behind.
I don't know, man. Speaking of running, Jimmy, did you hear that statement coming out of Lindsey Graham there of South Carolina saying that Trump could be possibly right at that moment right now, sometime this week? It could happen now. It could happen, into the weekend where Trump is going to literally give that launch, that official launch, if he is going to put a, his name into the hat, so to speak, for the 2024 election.
I really hope he does. I'd really be curious to see who is running. I really want to know. I'm not even concerned about him running. Like if he runs, he runs. I want to know who his running mate's going to be. I'd like to know who he wants.
Yeah. You think it's going to be? DeSantis there, or?
Nah,
I don't know.
Nah,
You don't think so?
He already said it that he said he wouldn't. He said he wasn't going to run. He said Florida was his main focus. I mean,
well, he is using Florida. Yeah, he's using Florida as his base. I seen a statement come out earlier today on Breitbart. Breitbart saying that Trump is literally using that state to fuel up the next possibly MAGA movement, for 2024. So, yeah, I could see that, Jimmy.
What I will say is, I think the next 2 years leading up to the election is going to be a wild, volatile type of time. We see it every day.
Yeah.
We're just living in some real sketchy times, some real crazy times, and I think that the 2 years leading up to the election, after the midterms, or even leading up to the midterms, going to be funky, man.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. We had a bit last night. For those who are just catching up, we're still, even though it's Tuesday, I still think it's important to still celebrate, Independence Day, the birth of our country. 200 and if I have this correct, y'all can fact check me if you want, but 246 years of the birth of our country here. And, we're like Jimmy says, we're in crazy times. I think, Jimmy, this is going to be an election coming up to, literally look at freedoms, look at liberties, look at meanings, behind this country and what it represents. We're in that time. I know we seen that shit, in 2016 with Donald Trump saying, we need to save America, and, the whole Hillary thing and Obama and stuff like that. A lot of people think it was just for a political bumper sticker. But, I mean, literally, guys, Jimmy, I don't know how you feel on this, but I think we have this last chance, to see where we're going to go in the next, 4, possibly 8 years,
Well, I think the big thing that a lot of people are worried about too is the downturn in the economy. So again, we have a downturn. The S&P is down. I think we're in a bear market, right? And then on top of that, we don't have the Fed's protection to prop up the economy, and the Fed has raised the interest rates, right? And they may raise their interest rates more and more, and we may go into the next 2 years before the election may be a huge recession, which is going to hurt.
Yeah.
a lot of people, a lot of business growth in this country is going to hurt. The amount of violence that goes on a daily basis here is insane, and excuse me, I am 1,000% 2A. I back 2A. I don't believe that making legislation against, law-abiding citizens is going to help with crime and violence. So you see that the more and more there's an uptick of violence, the government's really trying to put the noose around the average law-abiding citizen. So you have maybe a recession, violence kicking up, the government trying to block you from being able to defend yourself, and kind of a right to carry concealed. The Supreme Court overturning certain controversial, rulings that they've made in the past.
I mean, this is something, Jimmy. Yeah, Jimmy, this is something I had on Rip Views last week. Podcaster out of Chicago, which I happened to have the honor and utmost privilege of being on his first pilot show there. He's been around for a while, getting his material, getting his, his branding into play. But he does a lot of social media. He started out as a content creator, but he's slowly getting into the podcasting. And, I happened to be on the first episode. This is one of the topics we were talking about, with possibly gun reform. And, we even got into mental illness, where, people are like saying, like it's not fair to screen out mental illness in purchasing a gun. And I'm like, what? That's one of the key issues that we have behind gun violence and violence in America is through mental illness. You take somebody that's mentally ill versus somebody that's sane. The person that's mentally ill is going to commit the crime more than the person that doesn't have any type of disturbance up there. You know what I mean? So,
well, what I would say is that when you look at mass shootings, the individual is usually pretty fucked up. He's pretty sick in the head. When you look at your average everyday gun violence that goes on every day, those are like drug related, assault related, crime related. So you can always screen for mental illness. There's plenty of people that walk around that have those issues that are totally capable of passing any type of test. But it's one of those things where, because you don't want to own one and because you feel unsafe, you want them all to be banned. Well, that's where I would disagree with you. I feel that people being able to conceal carry, would absolutely change the dynamic of where you live. In the biggest democratic cities and states, you have the highest rise of gun violence that you don't see in Republican red states as much. I mean, there is, but and I would tell you, let's say New Jersey would benefit from that because, the amount of, but when you look at the crimes in certain areas.
Well, did you also hear? Hold on, Jimmy. Let me stop you here. Did you also hear, since we're on this topic, you got Kristi Noem, right, where she said the other day, I don't want to hear about statistics. I want to hear about how we're going to change it. Everybody's talking about statistics, and there's more Democratic cities with more violence than Republican cities, or vice versa. She's like, I don't want to hear about statistics. I don't want to hear about numbers. I want to hear how we're going to solve this crap. Well, she didn't use crap, but you know what I mean. Like, she made a good point.
I think the numbers do count, though. I mean, the numbers show you.
Well, they count, but
they show you where most of your violence is coming from. The demographic of the people that are committing the crimes, those things are important to kind of understand. Then you have to kind of zone in on different things. So it's almost like, I mean, we know that urban areas, the ghettos, is where a lot of gun violence comes from, and people get shot all the time. Philadelphia, Chicago, LA, Baltimore, wherever, St. Louis, there's a lot of gang-related, crime-related killings when it comes to 2A. Has nothing to do with law-abiding citizens. So what happens is there's always a deflection point. The left is very good at being able to deflect when you have a valid. So it's like, well, look at those states. Whoa, where do you think the illegal guns come from? It comes from those states. Okay. So, again, the more reform you put in place, the more that it hurts the person that's the law-abiding citizen, the guy taking it to the range, the guy that's doing taking it out for sport, the guy that does it as a collection. Those are the guys that get hurt. But the Supreme Court ruling that self-defense is a perfectly fine reason. I think that's great. I think that they kind of understand where we're at. But then you have our state like New Jersey, where as soon as that ruling passes, now Murphy signs up 7 new bills. So they know they don't want people armed, because it's usually those people that don't want people armed that know that there's a possibility that maybe people one day, whatever. I don't think I need to.
Jimmy, I want to go over to the insurrection. They're still talking about the insurrection. That they covered it very, very. I want to say loosely this week. It's back and forth with the election. They're talking about Roe v. Wade. They're talking about all different topics, but they're mainly a little bit talking. They're trying to get back into the insurrection. January 6th. There was a person here that TMZ basically put out here. We'll plug it here in the show here. D.L. Hughley. I don't know if you know who he is, Jimmy, but literally saying putting out this here, saying that Donald Trump belongs in jail over this insurrection. Like, I don't understand the point. They're trying to get Donald Trump incarcerated. I know what they're trying to do. 2024 is right around the corner. They know how high of a presence that Donald Trump could have on this 2024 election. I think that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to push this issue.
They've tried everything, and I will just say I don't call it an insurrection. I call it January 6th protest. Just like Minneapolis was called, a friendly protest. So I hate to use their terminology in regards to that, because we still have political prisoners in jail from that day. But regardless, where was I going with this? Oh shit! I had a brain fart real quick. I have an itchy eye. So.
I was having some brain farts last night with Joseph Leonard, but it's all right. Yeah.
Well, one of the guys I know personally, he calls them cerebral combustion. So I had a cerebral combustion. But what I would say is they've tried everything to bar him from being able to run again. That's why the impeachment was important for them, because they knew that if they can impeach him, he wasn't able to run. The impeachment failed. The Russian collusion failed. And now what they want to do is, with these January 6th proceedings, is try to get another disbarment, another ban on him being able to run. They know that he has a huge backing and a huge following, and I think we've seen that the last couple of years. What other president do you know has been out of office and people are still riding around fucking waving flags for him and doing all types of things, So I think they understand that his presence is huge in a lot of different communities, and him running puts a wrench in their plans to kind of take over and make it blue again. So they're a little worried.
You never know.
And you know
go ahead, Jim.
And as far as a politician, he does not play by the rules, because he wasn't a politician before. He had money before, and career politicians, he makes them nervous. I'm talking about Republicans and Democrats, because they base their entire
I think he
life
makes
off
everybody nervous. Jimmy, he makes everybody nervous. I mean, we were talking about Joe Rogan earlier in the show. Why he doesn't want him on his show? I mean, maybe he possesses a fucking danger to his damn podcast show, on Spotify. Who the hell knows? What through people's heads. But guys, check this clip out. This is D.L. Hughley now saying that Donald Trump belongs in jail. Fucking hysteria, I'm telling you.
Hutchinson for testimony yesterday has everybody talking. What are your thoughts on this?
I think it's clear that the former president of the United States committed treason. It was sedition, and I believe that the Justice Department, if they don't indict everybody involved in this, including the former president of the United States of America, we need to take the idea of justice in America off the table. It does not exist. That man clearly weaponized that mob. He clearly did what he sent in fake electors. He did everything. He committed the very fraud. That he was telling his supporters was being committed. He did it. He should go to jail.
Well, you saw the thing about how he was trying to actually get the limo and lead the mob, and then told him to turn the metal detectors off. Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah. He's gonna.
And you know what? If all these other people were saying, well, that didn't happen. Say it under oath. If it didn't happen, whatever your obviously this is not a court of law, but the fact that he won't say anything under testimony, under oath, tells you a lot.
As far as this goes, people saying this is worse than Watergate. Is that
it's
accurate?
Way worse than Watergate. Yeah. People got killed.
Any message to Cassidy Hutchinson? A lot of people are asking, on her head right now.
Well, I tell you what, it costs to have character.
Yeah.
It costs to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there are not enough people like her. But I don't think you should be lauded for doing what you swore to do.
Yeah.
You swore to uphold the Constitution. You're supposed to do that.
Oh my God. Worse than Watergate? Are you fucking kidding me? Oh my God.
Listen,
Jimmy.
I think we've seen in this administration, we've seen a lot of reliance on entertainers to get the word out, right? So they've actually relied on Hollywood to really help push their narrative. Now, if he's calling Trump for treason, well, I hate to tell you guys, but look at listen. I'm not saying Trump's the best president. I don't think that people should worship false idols either. I don't think people should kind of hang from his fucking nutsack and think he's like the second coming of Jesus. All I'm saying is that people enjoyed the 4 years that he was president. Yes, he fucking is very comical and clown-like when he speaks about stuff. He probably should have listened to a teleprompter. If he was a little bit more articulate, it would have went a little bit. It would have went a long way. But he came in guns blazing and said, "This is who I am. You guys fucking voted for me. I'm not a politician. I'm a fucking, I'm a businessman, and I'm in the hot seat." But what I would say is, if you feel that this president committed treason, look at
where's the treason at? Where's the treason at? I don't understand. But what type of treasonous acts did he commit?
Well, they're trying to say that obviously he was leading the what they call insurrection. So obviously, if that were to come out as true that he was leading it, then in a sense that would be treason to the government. It would be. But what I'm saying is, if you think that's treason, look at all the other presidents that allowed certain bills to stay in play. Even Trump himself. He's not out of hot water for this, but the Patriot Act is still signed in since George W. Bush. Obama re-signed it. Trump kept it on the table, and so did Biden. And that, if you read the Patriot Act, you can see how unconstitutional that act is, okay, and how it has perpetrated against the American people.
It's put big impact on our lives, without a doubt, Jimmy. It's put a huge amount of impact on our lives. I'm not gonna. I agree.
What I'm saying is, if you want to talk about treason, then you might as well hold George W. Bush for treason, Obama, and Biden, along with Trump, if we're going to talk treason, because the Patriot Act allowed the NSA to spy on people and collect all types of data in the name of terrorism, and it did not help anything. All it did was pry into our private lives and basically spy on us. That's unconstitutional. If you want to talk about treason, it's been committed for years by our government on both sides of the fucking spectrum. And unfortunately, it is what it is. That's what it is, man. And it's what
Yeah,
it is.
yeah.
When you really think about it. So
Yeah, it is what it is. We got a Twitch comment coming in from Twitch here because we're streaming live on Twitch. Streamer here off of Twitch. He's a gamer. He does follow the stream from time to time. Thanks for joining us here. Let me read this here. Okay, Figgy Bach, if that's his Figgy Bach, B-O-K, right? If I'm pronouncing the handle name wrong, I do apologize. Saying that the real treason out of all this, you're talking about insurrection. The insurrection, the true insurrection, Michael and Jimmy, was from 2020 of the general election. Well, I mean, if you want to call that an insurrection, sure. Mail-in ballots?
Well, there was a lot of dirty business with that. I mean, again, what you're going to hear from the left is if there was any evidence, why wasn't it turned in? A lot of people are using the 2000 Mules? What's the name of that movie? I never watched it yet, but
2000 Mules. Yeah, it's a book too. I think they came out in a book format.
They're saying the evidence is there, but I think that a lot of things, again,
I don't know. I mean,
it's been
Jimmy, you talk about evidence, man. Yeah, you talk about evidence, man. Like, I think the evidence is there, but like we live in a literally democracy, folks. They'll look at it as a democracy. It's not a democracy. It's a constitutional, republic. So, I don't know.
It was supposed to be a republic, but I don't believe it is so anymore. And I think that, unfortunately, the way that we're going, we have some hard times ahead of us. And I always kind of say it in every episode. So, we'll see where we're going with that. But, you want to put people up for treason, you might as well put up almost every president after, JFK for treason, or even as far back as to Woodrow Wilson if you want to. So, there's been a lot, and I think that that day, the January 6th protest, there's a lot of weird shit. I mean, police. It was the nation's capital. It was basically.
Well, hold on, Jimmy. I want to put this little funny. Yeah, I want to put this little funny bit in here. You talk about treason. Go back to every president, every politician, political figurehead. I mean, you could look at the fucking the redcoats, right? This little image we're popping up on the screen here. Let's give them a little fucking stone cold stunner. Fucking stun these fucking, But yeah, I agree with you without a doubt.
Well, again, you can always go back to you have these career politicians. Look at their net worth. So for people that have been inside government jobs and making a certain amount of money for years, their net worth is like 200 million, 300 million. How did they accumulate that much wealth sitting in a seat that has, even if you made 200,000 a year, right? Let's say in Congress or whatnot, right? How would you accumulate $300 million over a certain time frame? So I'd like to know, that's why people get nervous when these like real crazy people come out of nowhere and run for any political office. I wouldn't be surprised that in the future they try to change more requirements on who can run and who can't. Like you'd have to hold.
Well, Jimmy, they're catering to sick, deluded jackasses that go on picket lines that do stuff like this. I mean, this is what our country's becoming. This is another thing I wanted to get into if we had time on the show. They're trying to mandate now vasectomies. Have you heard of that shit? Now they're saying, life begins at ejaculation. And a fucking lunatic with a bunch of sperm,
that all stems from Roe versus Wade. Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not happy with the ruling. I'm not a conservative. I think that abortion should be legal, and I don't think that right should be taken away. But I'm not saying it as like, I want babies to be killed. I'm just saying, listen, most people that are using abortion, and I've said it before, they're not using it. They're trying to say there's a large margin of people like, oh, what about the little girl who was raped and she can't get an abortion? Or what about the woman who is going to have, she has a dead baby in her, or, a stillbirth, or, she wants to abort because there's going to be a lot of physical deformities, right? The margin of that is not as big as people using it for contraceptive. So that is the counter movement now, right? It's like, oh, well, if the government's going to say that what we can and can't do with our bodies, now men should get vasectomies because, and then I seen it, I read it. It's like men should get vasectomies, and then when they're responsible enough and make enough money to reverse it, then they can go and get it. So it's just the counter argument to what's going on. Listen, if you're not happy with your state's decision on it, well, then start to vote a different way and get different people in office. I don't know what to tell you. Again, I don't agree with the ruling. I don't agree with states banning abortion. I don't want those individuals who are fucking using it as contraceptive reproducing. I don't want some fucking crackhead, some fucking person who lives in a shithole area who just is like.
That's our society today, Jimmy. That's the society we live in. Unfortunately, we have to deal with lunatics.
Can you imagine that though? Can you imagine a woman who's gotten, let's say, 10 abortions? Can you imagine that type of person actually having 10 kids? So those 10, we all know what's going to happen. They're going to be on a system. They're going to be living off the government, living off our tax dollar. So fuck it. If you want to have an abortion, I'm all for it. Fucking abort away. I know it's fucked up. I don't want babies to be killed, but let's face it. Can we take care of somebody who's fucking procreating that quick? Who just doesn't give a fuck, right? Having 10, I can't imagine that type of individual having 10 children or 15 children or whatnot. I just don't think it's right. But for the people on the other side that are going to have complications or were raped, then I do feel for them. I do. But again, there's a lot of people in that movement that were all about my body, my choice. But when it came to COVID vaccines, they weren't my body, my choice. So I don't have much sympathy in regards to that. But I am not.
Hey, Jimmy, let's get into something if you got time here. I want to get into Kamala Harris, man. Where the fuck has she been?
I don't know. Who the fuck knows?
Fox is the 5, Kaylee Menachany on the 5 earlier today literally asked the same question. We're talking about Biden, we're talking about Roe v. Wade, we're talking about January 6th, we're talking about this, we're talking about that, we're talking about Biden falling off of a fucking mountain bike in Wilmington, Delaware. How come we're not talking about the vice president? Where the fuck has she been? She's not on.
Maybe she's just trying to stay off the radar. Maybe she's just happy enough that she became president. She didn't even have enough supporting rating for president in the first place. So maybe she's just fucking. I think she's just doing her part. I think they were like, all right, who's the best person to put with fucking Sleepy Joe? And they were like, oh, we got it. Put the woman.
She's been off the radar though.
In office, and we'll get support like crazy. Because you got this fucking Momo as president, and then they're like, well,
wait, what did you call it? You called her a Momo?
No, not her. Him, Joe Biden.
Oh, okay.
Her, she put they put her in because I'll tell you this much. And then on top of that, that's a great play too because she's part Indian. So that strengthens. We have a large Indian population in the United States. So that's
she's also supposed to be behind. Yeah, she's also supposed to be the person in charge of the border, right?
Nah, everybody gets a free ticket to come in. There is no. It's like a fucking turnstile down there. You could just walk through and they just count how many people come in. The border's a mess. I mean, Texas just called it a fucking a disaster down there, which is true. You have thousands of people marching through whenever they feel like it. So
Yeah,
it is what it is. But
it's pretty brutal, pretty brutal at all. But guys, just a little bit here from Judge Janine. We all love Judge Janine, right? Literally, Judge Janine calling out Kamala Harris, saying, where is she at? She's out of the specter, so to speak. Here, a little audio clip we'll plug into the show here, guys. Check this out.
Prosecutor would understand that if our money is going to corrupt governments in Central America, and she has been tasked with the idea of finding out what the root causes of immigration are, then she would do exactly what you're talking about, Jesse. That is common sense. But this woman is lazy. She is a lazy human being. She doesn't want to focus her message. She doesn't want to get out there. She's been in Latin America for three full days. Meanwhile, Joe Biden was there a few weeks ago, 6 days in a row. And now they have an end game. They want to try to get people to the Summit of Americas. She's calling everybody and begging them to show up.
And they won't show.
And they won't show. I mean, the woman she's more than a laughing stock. She's more than someone who's inept. She is lazy. She doesn't deserve the job. She should just resign. She's not doing anything.
Yeah, I agree. She's not doing a damn thing, Jimmy. Judge Janine calling out the Latin America, was it Central America or something like that? Joe Biden being there 6 days in a row or something, or 6 times in a row. I mean,
listen,
he's Keats.
They don't. Regardless. People just don't understand it. They don't care about you. They never will. They take your tax-paying money. They send it overseas. They put it in their friends' pockets.
Mongrels. Yeah.
They allow people to run across the border, run amok. I think if you sat down most people that are angry and had a good conversation with them, and once they calm down, and I'm talking about from the right, they would tell you, listen, we don't have a problem with most people. We just want you to come in the legal way. We want our money to stop being spent on shit that doesn't matter, because when I drive over a fucking pothole that rattles my car, right? I think about, billions of dollars being sent over to a different country. Look at every bailout package that they just did recently, all the stimulus packages. Really read into them. Most people out there don't read into them.
Yeah.
Go to the Congress website, look up the package, and see how much
Jimmy,
money
that's what we're suffering from. That's what we're suffering from. We're suffering from all that stimulus. All that stimulus that was just literally handed out. Inflation, gas prices, everybody. Oh, no, it's not causing it.
But people traded that right to complain about it when they said, give me my $1,200. That was hush money. If you look at the packages and you look at how much money was taken and spent, not on you, and sent overseas or spent on some dumb shit, you'd realize that you got such a small fraction of the money. They could have probably given you a $5,000 check. They could have maybe given you a $10,000 check. I'm just saying, if they really cared about you boosting the economy, no, they put money into the Kennedy Center. They put money into Pakistan for gender studies. They put money into Ukraine.
Oh, it was getting poured out all over the fucking place, like fucking.
So
your old uncle giving you like a fucking $100 bill. Here you go.
They were giving money out like nothing, and then, unfortunately, we reap what we sow, and we're dealing with that economic downturn now, and we'll see. I think that the beginning of 2023 is going to be very interesting. I think we're going to see. I just went on a Costco run today, right? Up in New Jersey. I went on a Costco run. I'm going to tell you right now, boxes are getting smaller, prices are going up. Something that I would normally buy, which is a 3-pound tin of coffee, was around $10-11. It's now $16. So it went up about $5. It went up about $4 or $5. Okay, in a matter of 2-3 months.
Damn.
So you're starting. I usually get salmon. Right, there's salmon packaged kind of like the chicken is. I was not able to find a fillet under $30, and I used to be able to spend like $18 to $20 and get a nice fillet of salmon that was packaged, and do that. Now I haven't found any. So It's going to hit mission critical probably around the holiday times where people start to realize like, my pockets are fucking screaming right now because there's nothing.
Oh
else.
yeah,
So,
tell me about it, man. I mean, you're talking about you're going into a Costco up there in Jersey. I mean, down here in Georgia, I'm going into like we got a big grocery store down here called Publix, right? They're all over the South.
Yeah, I know about Publix.
I'm going into Publix the other day, and I'm trying to get regular chop meat, to make some nice burger patties, on the grill. Fucking chop meat is up by like 35 fucking percent. I'm like, holy shit. Guess I'm not making fucking burgers tonight. Oh, fuck.
So, and oddly enough, whenever something like this happens, and then you have people pushing for like, oh, get the plant-based, or use this, use that. So that's always interesting. But again, if we go into a big recession, I don't know what's gonna be hurt. I don't know who's gonna have a job at the end of it, who's gonna lose their job. Is unemployment gonna skyrocket as well in the next 2 years because we go into a recession and people stop spending money? That's gonna affect the market. Places will shut down.
How's the gas up there, man? Is the gas kind of dwindling down a little bit, or?
At Costco it's $4.59 a gallon.
Okay,
so
it's coming down a little bit. Yeah.
That's the cheapest around. It was up probably close to $5, went back down. A lot of economists that I've been following said that you shouldn't expect it to come down below $4 until at least 2023. So we're gonna be riding that $4 wave for quite some time.
Yeah, I got my brother out in Cali saying that they're pushing damn near there in California. I'm like, $6.
I'm gonna have to get me a siphoner. Just start fucking taking it.
We're gonna be on fucking we're gonna be like living like the Amish people there in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and Ohio. We're gonna be fucking horse and buggying it, man. I think in the next 2 years.
I'm not too far from them, so I'll just go out and join the community.
Shit, man.
Let my beard grow.
And those guys. Yeah, those guys, Jimmy. They won't even use public transportation unless they absolutely need to use it. Like sometimes you'll see them going on like Greyhound buses or something, but it's got to be like fucking downpouring or lightning storms or something. You know what I mean? But
hey, man, maybe that's the kind of lifestyle people should be living. Who knows? It works for them.
Really? So let me tell you something here. Since we're on that real quick before we depart, you're telling me that if the government says we're going to get rid of cell phones, modern technology, flat screen TVs, Bluetooth, all that shit, you give it up like that?
Put me back. I would say put me back to like 90s. Give me 90s. Big fucking tube television. Give me big tube televisions. Give me a Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64. Give me a house phone. I'm okay with that. Give me a car with the rollies, with the rolled. You gotta fucking roll your windows down.
Yeah,
I can live in that.
Yeah, ZZ.
I don't want to go like
Z. Yeah, we got a comment coming in. ZZ Bob out of Michigan here on Twitch. Hey, buddy. He's like, put me back to 98. I'll fucking take that year any day. Oh, okay, bud.
Yeah, put me back in the 90s, man. 98 was a great year. Put me back. I'll be over there with him hanging out. Put me back in 98. I could live that. Even early 2000s, like, I'm going to be honest, like, the internet has been a great thing for all of us, but the internet has been also, now that the information is being filtered, that's all you see. It's just there to divide us and drive us fucking insane. And I think that the 90s was a great time. I think people were coming together. People knew that they were collectively being fucked together. Music was good. Technology was changing rapidly, which was cool. We got to see a lot in the 90s. I love it. I would go back.
Dude, I miss my... You know what I do? You know what I miss, man? I miss my old mixtapes, man. I used to take, like, music off of, like, the radio or something. This is before, like, fucking dial-up internet. I would take a cassette tape, and I would... Like, literally,
we all did that.
Sometimes you would have to wait, like, all fucking day to just record a fucking song off the radio. Like, it would, and I would just, like, fucking, yeah.
there was an underground hip hop station I used to listen to. I don't remember what it was, but it only came on between 1 and 2 a.m. in the morning on Thursday. So I would stay up at night as a teenager and fucking watch ECW, right? Because I think that came on Thursdays too. Watch ECW because that came on around like midnight, some crazy shit.
Yeah, midnight. Yeah, fucking.
I would.
Yeah, Paul Heyman would be putting that shit on.
I would wait until I heard the station come on, and then I would just fucking hit play and record. You know, when you'd have to hit both those buttons, and I would just fall asleep. And I knew it was gonna record on the tape player anyway, so fuck it. I was good.
Well, that was before fucking TiVo, man. You're talking days before TiVo and fucking all that other shit, man, where they, you had to rely on the old VCR, you know what I mean? So.
Oh, I'm saying, like, I recorded shit off the radio too. People don't understand that. That's what you had to do. So those times were great. We were just, it was a different era, and we weren't as divided back then. I mean, I think we were healing. I think we were coming together, and now we're drastically divided. So
yeah. Hey Jimmy, hold that thought, man. Hold that thought. I gotta do a quick little promo here for July 25th, guys. July 25th, as you see here, Unfiltered Gaming of Rants, guys. We're gonna be on Twitch here. That's gonna be mainly our main. Well, I mean, you're going to be able to face, obviously, right? I wanted to put this graph here on the show, on the stream here, because we stream, guys, love Twitch. Twitch has been forever great to us. They don't shadow ban. They don't censor. Thank God. So we're going to come out with a series, guys. Like I said, it's going to be entirely different from politics. Going to be doing it with a family member, my cousin. You can follow him on Twitch, Liz Dexia82, big damn gamer there on Twitch. Got a great following too, pushing almost 2,000 fucking followers on his channel. So pretty damn good shit. Check us out on Twitch, July 25th, as we are going to have the gaming series, Unfiltered Gaming of Rants. We're going to be doing new games coming to the channel, coming to other platforms such as Facebook Gaming, and I believe YouTube has a gaming thing. I'm not really sure. Don't quote me on that. But we're gonna basically go out and say what's popping, what's not, give our reviews, little funny bits into it, make it comical. Like I said, has nothing to do with politics, guys. We're gonna have an entire different series. So check me out. Check my cousin out. That's going to be joining me on the 25th, Liz Dexia82. You can check out his channel on Twitch. Gets into a lot of Minecraft, a lot of different types of games for you gamers out there. Really, really good stuff. Probably going to be pushing for like hour shows. He's telling me let's do 4, 5, 6 hour shows. I'm like, Jesus Christ, give me a fucking shot at gin first before we do that. But yeah.
That's what Twitch,
but yeah.
That's what Twitch guys do.
I'm telling you.
Guys do. They not for me, man.
Yeah, they fucking stream for 6, 7, 8 hours. I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? Do you have like a holy shit, the energy level? Oh my God.
It's a total streaming is completely different than podcasting. They make money off of people donating money to them while they sit there and they talk and all that other stuff. And
yeah.
It's a job, man. That is a job.
Yes, yeah.
I will say kudos to those guys. I mean, listen, some people make it big. There's one podcast I've been listening to lately, Impulsive, Logan Paul. I don't know if you
Logan Paul, yeah, he's I checked Logan Paul out. He's getting a little big now into the WWE market now. I just seen that he just signed a contract with WWE, so. Maybe he's saying goodbye to.
But he has a podcast that's doing pretty well too, and it's refreshing. Not politics, It's more like entertainers, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, I tell people this, Jimmy. Politics is my life, dude. I mean, I don't know, man. I tried doing other stuff, but I can't do it.
I can just gotta find the right niche.
Yeah, gotta find the right niche. Guys, we're going to close it out here. Before we close it out, I want to basically thank Jimmy for coming on. It's always great shooting the shit with Jimmy here. It's been a while since Jimmy been on, about a week and a half now, but it's all right. You know, we have busy schedules.
Yeah, but, trust me, I'm like burnt. I'm burnt to the core. My face is burnt. My neck is.
Dude,
burnt.
I see it, man. Holy shit, man. You got all red. You look like a tomato.
I feel like one. Trust me.
We're gonna. Hey, if it's all right with you, Jimmy, we're gonna create a meme, man, and we're gonna put like Jimmy the tomato. Look, his face is all like fucking red. But Jimmy, it's been an honor, guys. Before we close it out, go ahead, Jimmy.
No, go ahead.
No, I said before we close it out, man. I wanted to give you a little bit. You talking about the beach or something?
Oh no, I was at the beach yesterday. It was a great time. I had a really long weekend, but it was great. Can't complain. Got to spend it with family. Good time. Got to
get drunk?
And kind of did not. I did not drink at all. I had maybe a glass of wine, but I will say that in having the weekend that I did and closing it out on the 4th just really made me appreciate living in the USA.
Oh, amen to that. Amen to that. I'm sorry you couldn't drink, but I mean, fuck, I can't even afford a fucking beer now these days. It's terrible.
Yeah, I'm not really on a drinking kick right now, so just trying to diet and exercise.
Well, as you see, guys, I'm a little lit on my own show. I've been drinking some mixed cocktails, but you know, it's all right. It's all right. But guys, I want to before I close it out here, I want to basically say that, you know, if you like this podcast episode, you want to follow us, we do appreciate it. You can catch a lot of episodes with myself. Jimmy's been on several. I think maybe like 20 now, 25, maybe close to 30. I'm not really sure. I think it's about 25. But guys, you can catch all the episodes past and present on Spotify, Google, Apple, Amazon Music, Audible, now streaming live on Twitch. Follow me on Twitch, US Patriot Unfiltered, as well as Rumble, Patriot_Angle_podcast on Rumble. Shortly after this broadcast, guys, this stream that we're doing here live on Twitch will be uploaded on Rumble. Rumble charges a fucking dime and a leg, man, to fucking do their lives. I don't do it on live anymore on Rumble. I just upload it to Rumble. But yeah, guys, thanks for tuning in. And as always, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.